Hi, so in this video I will be showing you how to use the SpectraMagic software. So once you have installed the software, I'll open up the software. So this is the software in my start menu, SpectraMagic NX. When I run the software, it will prompt me on this, so I will just click yes, and the software will load up. You will be shown this welcome screen, which you can select a couple of template options. I will just use simple, and I will click do not show this window again. This is optional. If you would like this window to come up every time, then you could select this. I don't like it, so I will just put do not show this dialog at setup. Click OK. So you notice I am greeted with this warning, cannot find protect key. This is because I have not inserted the protect key, which is the USB dongle that came with the CD. So in order to get rid of this message, I would actually have to insert the USB dongle, the blue looking dongle that came with the CD, into the PC. So I'm going to insert it right now. I'm going to click OK, and in a couple of moments it says detected protect key. If you already had the protect key inserted in the PC before running the software, this would what happen. I will run the software again, and the error message would not pop up. It will directly show up to this screen. So in order to begin, let me explain the software layout a bit. If you look in this section on top here, there's 3 buttons in this group. The first button is to make a new measurement file, second one is to open, and third is to save. So this just more on document opening and saving. This next button set, it will be the most used button. This first button is for connect, the second button is instrument settings, third is for calibration, fourth is to measure the target, and fifth will be measure the sample. So I will run through how to establish the connection with the instrument. On the first run, I will click the word instrument up here and go to communication setup. Please ensure before you connect the instrument to the PC, you have your instrument turned on, and if your instrument requires to be in remote mode, then please set it to be on remote mode. In this option, there's nothing much to set except for the port. In this case, I only have one port setting, which is COM3. However, if you do have more than one, so by default it should be COM1 or COM3. However, if you have a different COM port selection, please select the right one for the instrument. I will click OK and go to instrument again and click the word connect. It will take a while to establish the connection. However, once you establish the connection, you may have a status window over here. If you have established the connection correctly, it would say 0 calibration required or white calibration required. On the bottom right of the screen, you will see the model. I have my model CM260OD connected over here. If it's not connected, on the status bar it would say here not connected, and here would say none at the bottom over here. So I'll re-establish the connection again. Okay. So the instrument is now connected and says 0 calibration is required. So I will show you the next button of instrument settings. So when I click on instrument settings, I get a couple of different settings. These settings would differ based on the equipment connected. So this is the typical setting for CM260OD. So you have reflection mode, you have the specular component mode or SEI, SEE, or SEI plus SEE, depending on what's your requirements. I would just be using SEI for this example. You can change the target mask for MAV or SAV accordingly. I'll be using MAV for this example, and for example, the UV I would be selecting to UV 100%. Okay. So the next one would be the very important step to perform. So would be the calibration. So we click on this symbol, and there will be a small wizard that guides you. So it says ready for 0 calibration. So I will perform the 0 calibration. So I just have to click the word 0 calibration and set up the equipment accordingly for the 0 calibration. Okay. Now that it's done, it will prompt me for white calibration. So I will set up the equipment as shown in the image on the white calibration plate and click white calibration. Once you click white calibration, you will hear the instrument taking the measurement. Okay. Now that it is done, if you notice on the status bar over here, it says measurement available. So how we could proceed is, if you are taking a target measurement, you will click the button which has the word T on it, which is measure target. It will come up a sample window. I will come up a window here to provide the name of the target. So you can give a name according to your either the sample serial number, sample model number, or product code. So I will just use test 01 and place the equipment on my sample and click OK. So as soon as I click the word OK, the equipment will start taking measurement. Okay. So as you can see, I've already taken one measurement and the display over here had changed. So let me explain a bit on this interface. Over on this top over here, you have the data recording. So the target is highlighted in blue. So you have test 01, you have the L star, A star and B star data. So this is more of a tabular view and this is a display view, a display template. So here I already have the target name test 01 and I have the target data here. So this data over here is similar to the data over here. So on the display view, it just makes it easier to view the sample data. So next I would click measure sample. Before that, I would place my instrument on the sample color. I'll click the word measure sample and again pop-up would appear to give a name. So by default, it would default to number 1 as in first measurement sample, the date and the time. If this is not desired, you could change it to any custom name called sample 01 for example, and once you click OK, it will immediately perform the measurement. Okay. So looking back on the data table, we have again test 01 as the target and sample 01 as the measurement sample. So you can see that sample 01 also records L star, A star and B star data, as well as the comparison between the sample and target using delta L, delta A, delta B and delta E star. So let me select sample 01 over here and you will see that this display has already changed. You have sample 01, target test 01, and it gives you over here the samples LAB and the target LAB over here, yeah. And the color difference is shown over here. Over here, the judgment whether it's pass or fail is not displayed because there has been no setting done on this. I will explain on that later on. And here you can see on the graph how far away the color is. So this is the target is right in the center and the sample is on this gray dot. Let me select it again. Yeah, once you select this over here, it will change to blue. So you can show that the sample is on the delta A is about slightly below 1.5, which is showing here negative 1.34, and on the B, on delta B side, it's slightly above 0.3, 0.2, yeah, so it's negative 0.2, and on the L star, delta L star, it's only negative, it's only plus 0.02, so it's higher. So this would be the delta graph or the delta color space, and this would be the actual color space. So to interpret this, this is rather small. If I go to tools, edit mode, I can actually make this slightly bigger to see. Yeah, I made it a bit bigger for viewing purpose. So you can see that this color coordinates reflects on this data. So for example, on the delta, on the A star color data, the target is at 22.05 while the sample is at 20.71. So the target's around after 22 and the samples within 20.6 to 20.8. Whereas on the B star axis, it's pretty similar. So the target is on 27.23, sorry, 27.32, so it's over here, and the sample is at 27.13 over here. So this plots the absolute data. So let me resize it back to its original size, should be around here. In most case scenarios, I would turn off the edit mode so that if you click anything or delete something, it does not go missing. But if you like to resize, then you could go to tools and turn on edit mode and resize accordingly. Okay. So this only shows you how to measure one target. So if you have multiple color reference or different target colors, you could measure samples in respect to various targets accordingly. So let's measure another target. So I will click the word target again, and again it defaults to target to date and time. So I would measure a white sample over now. So I would put this target as test 02, and when I click OK, it will immediately take measurements. So please ensure that before you select the word target, you have already placed your equipment on the target color. Okay. So if you notice that over here, target 1 or test 01 has disappeared and is now displaying only test 02. Okay. So, and there's no sample attached to test 02 because there's no sample has been measured against test 02. So I would place my equipment on a sample color. Again, I would click measure sample, and I will leave this as a default for this instance. So I would obtain the color data for the target, which is a white color sample. So test 02's color data is over here, L star, A star and B star, where the sample data is over here. And if you look over here, once you select this, you will see the difference. So samples data versus the targets data, and this would be the color difference. So if you notice on this corner of the display where you have classification by target, there we have test 01 and test 02. So test 01 would refer to the first target that we measured, and test 02 would refer to the second target that I measured. And this indication of 1 beside it indicates there's one sample linked to the target. So if I would like to measure back on target 1, all I would have to do is click back on this test 01 and make sure test 01 is highlighted over here, and once I click measure sample, I am going to leave it as default and click OK. It will measure another sample and link it back to test 01, and it will make the comparison against the target 1's color. So, if you notice back over here, test 01 has 2 samples attached to it and test 02 has 1 sample attached to it. Okay. So, in any case, if you made an error onto the naming of the sample, all you have to do is double click on the sample name. So, if I want to change sample 01's name, or let us say I say sample 02's name, which is defaulted to the date and time, which is sample number 3 over here. So, I will double click on this and just change this to sample 02, for example. Yeah, on your screen it might, yeah, depending on the display you might not see the bottom. So, let me move my taskbar out of the way. Yeah. Now click the close at the bottom. My display is rather limited, so I can't see this button over here. Yeah. And that we have the rename to sample 02 over here. If you like to rename the target, you cannot directly double click on the word test 01 here. It does not work. So, you will have to go over here, all data, and select targets. Here is just a classification of the targets individually. So, if let us say I would like to change the name of test 01, I just have to double click on test 01. I think I should move this up over here again, change this to brown target, for example, because I measured a brown color. Click close and go to test 02, and I will change this to white target, since I measured a white color for this. So, you see, once I change it over here, it would update the selection over here, and so happens once it updates over here, even on the data display over here, it will change the display. Okay. So, next I would show you how to make how to set the tolerances. So, in order to set the tolerance, we will click on the word data and we have tolerance setting. So, there's another limitation, I cannot see the buttons at the bottom. Okay. So, in order for me to set the tolerance, I would click data tolerance setting. Please note that this tolerance setting will not only be set for the selected target. So, in this scenario, the tolerance will be set for brown target. If you would like to set a single tolerance for all the different targets, you would have to go and set default tolerance setting. So, this will select a general target for all different colors. However, we will need individual target settings for different colors, then you would have to click data and tolerance settings. So, you notice that this is for brown target. If I would have selected it on white target, it will now display on white target. Okay. However, the next step would be similar. So, let us say I would set the target for white target. I would set, in this case I would set the delta L to plus minus 1. So, I will just put 1, here I will put minus 1 and upper limit of 1 and minus 1. Similarly, here 1 and minus 1. Okay, just by inserting the value, it is not already set it to use this judgment, so you would also have to click this. So for white target, I would not be using delta E as my as a judgment. I'm only using delta L, delta A, and delta B. I do have a problem with my PC, so I think I will just click enter and it will immediately save it in. So as you can see, immediately it says fail over here, and the reason being is that my setting is plus minus 1. So delta A is between plus minus 1 and delta B is between plus minus 1. However, delta L is above plus minus 1. Hence, the total judgment is fail, because if any criteria over here or any measurement value here over is failed, it will affect the total judgment. Okay. So since I've only set this on white target and I did not set it for the brown target, when I scroll back to the brown target, there is no judgment over here. So I would show you, if I would like to set one target for all the colors, I would go to data and click default tolerance setting. Here I would only use delta E, for example, and I will set the delta E to 1.5 in this scenario and click OK. It's also possible to use all. For example, you could use delta L, delta A, delta B, and delta E, but just for this purpose, I'm just only using delta E. Click OK. I may have made a mistake somewhere. Okay, so I think I understand what happens is that it will only affect on the next measurement. Okay, there's no changes. I'm not sure if I've done something wrong, but typically this works. However, in most scenarios, we do not set a default tolerance, we set an individual tolerance. So just for the brown target, I'll set it to 1.5. I'll click enter on my keyboard, it will save. So here you will notice that the tolerance only says the tolerance is only given for the delta E, but looking back on this data table, I have 3 samples. First sample says warning, second sample says pass, and third sample says pass. So let me click on the first sample. Here it comes out the word warning. Warning actually means the sample is it's okay, it's past judgment. However, it's coming very close to the limit. So the limit was delta E 1.5. So 1.35 is very close to the limit. This actually can be seen when you click data and you click judgment format. So it has a warning level over here. So it says warning level is 80%, the text color will change to yellow, and so this is just a good indication that the color may be coming close to failure. However, if you do not like this feature, you can just turn off this show warning level, click OK. Now everything shows pass and there is no warning indicator on this. So this will be a very brief explanation of how to use the SpectraMagic software. Yeah, I did not cover how to save the data. So in order to save the data, we will click File, Save As, and I would give it random name over here. So let me see where I could save my data. So I'll open up a new folder and then I will put test over here. Yep. So I would save this as demo, for example, measure. Click save. So this file gets saved as a name demo.measurement. So let me navigate to the save file location. Let me navigate to my documents folder, and here I do have I do not know, yeah, test. Okay. So it's saved over here. So let me close the software and open it up again. So every time I open up this particular file, it will load up into, and I can continue my previous measurement. However, if I were to just open up SpectraMagic on its own, it will load up into a blank document, and I will not be able to resume my measurement. So if I would like to resume my measurement, I would have to go back to File, Open, and select my file location. So the most convenient way would be to locate the save file and open up directly on the save file, and this will allow you to continue the measurement. So I will continue on my white target, for example. So I'll place back my equipment on the white, and I will click measure sample. Okay. And it provides me the latest measurement, and I can continue my measurement. There would be also a feature that allows you to click the measure button on the instrument to trigger measurements. So if you were to try to press the measurement button on the equipment, there will be no response to the PC. So in order to do so, you have to notice that the word remote measurement here has to be selected. Currently there is no selection of remote measurement, so we will go to instrument, remote measurement, and you could choose whether the remote measurement only does target measurement or sample measurement. I would prefer it to be selected for sample measurement. So I click on sample measurement, and you will see here it's selected. There is a tick beside sample remote measurement. So now when I actually click the measure button on the instrument's hardware, it will have a display saying receiving data, and I can give a data's name. If I would not like to keep the name and leave it as default, I will just click OK. And oh yeah, I measured it on the wrong color, so hence why the data is failed. So since I do not want this measurement, I will just right click this and click delete. It will delete this measurement data. I will place it back on the sample. Click on the measurement, click on the instrument hardware. Again it will say receiving data, and will use this sample default's name. Yep. And then it has transferred the data from the instrument to the software. So with this, I would like to conclude the brief training on using the SpectraMagic software. Thank you.